Hello, welcome to the historical reflection. And today I will be discussing with you another war which had actually had an impact on world history. The impact is immense. As I had been telling you, war definitely is a disadvantage when we talk of humanities. But there are some intelligent people, and there are some people which actually says, and we also observe that sometimes war are we have to wage a war to attain certain aspect of development, certain aspect of territories, but they also create a far-reaching effect, which over the period of time, and even in the modern times, we remember those wars. We find out that what are the advantage and disadvantage, and how this war has created an impact on the lives of the people, on the history of certain region of the world, and how important that war was, and how what is the difference being created by that one particular war. And that one particular war which I would like to discuss is Kalinga War in India, and that Kalinga's war and the rise of or awakening of Ashok, which is a very crucial incident which happened in India. So let's find out how this actually started and what is the impact of Kalinga War, not only on the great Ashok, but also to the on the world history. So the conquest of Kalinga War by Emperor Ashok was done in 261 BC, was definitely a very defining moment for Indian history, both in terms of military significance and as well as a moral transformation. The small but yes, quite fiercely independent state of Kalinga, which is now a modern day Odisha, was one of the few territories that had actually resisted a Mauryan domination. Unlike the rest of Ashoka's conquest, Kalinga did not surrender easily. It stood firmly, its warrior and the people determined to protect their homeland from the powerful Mauryan Empire. Now, Ashoka launched a very brutal military campaign, one of the bloodiest in ancient Indian history. Thousands of people perished in this battle, and even more were displayed or captured. The scale of destruction was unprecedented. Even today we talk about this, and we understand when we witness the war, we understand the kind of destruction which war brings. It is said that Ashoka, surveying the aftermath of his victory, was deeply disturbed and disturbed by the suffering he caused by this Kalinga war, and the sight of wounded soldiers, grieving families, and the kind of bloodshed which actually created a quite a profound impact on Ashoka the Great, and as well as a personal awakening. This battle marked the turning point in Ashoka's life. Overcome with the remorse, he abandoned his aggressive expansionist policies, and that turned himself to Buddhism, and embracing the principle of non-violence and compassion. He dedicated his whole time after this war into the welfare of his subjects, promoting peace, ethical governance, religious tolerance. His transformation from ruthless conqueror to the benevolent ruler remains one of the most remarkable shift in not only Indian history, but when we discuss the history of the world. This is a emperor who actually created a impact on the world history. Now, the Kalinga War was not merely a territorial conquest. It was the crucial in which emperor rise of consciousness. The consciousness of emperor was forged, giving a kind of a legacy, rise of influence on the world history, as I had been discussing them. The battle was very fierce, and although Ashoka emerged victorious in this war, but historically, if we discuss the kind of setback in terms of human life, So it will be like it is suggested that around 1 lakh people were killed, 1,50,000 were captured, and there are many more. There are many more which were imprisoned, captured, and there are many more who actually were displaced. And the site of the battlefield was like very, very bad in terms of, because not only emperor but other people who were victorious, they witnessed burned houses, scattered corpses, and grieving family, and that has a very deep impact on Ashoka. Legend actually has it that Ashoka walked through the ruins of Kalinga, and he was overwhelmed by the suffering he caused. And it was, in fact, he had so many, it was tears in his eyes, and he said what he has done. He actually was questioning himself at that point of time. The moment of realization led him to renounce the violence and embrace the Buddhism. He publicly expressed sorrow or remorse for the bloodshed, and he vowed that he will never wage a war again. The Ashoka's transformation was further guided by Mogalli Patta Tissa, a Buddhist monk who later on became his mentor. And under his influence, Ashoka adopted Dhamma, the moral code of promoting peace and tolerance and compassion. He spent rest of his life spreading Buddhism, Buddhist teaching, and ensuring welfare of his subjects. The shift in ideology made Ashoka one of the history's most remarkable ruler, because the incident actually depict him, or it is, everybody knows that, turning this person, this emperor, from conqueror to a champion of peace. And even today, people or leader of the world discuss his ideology, and they get inspired by what the great Ashoka has done. Now, let us also discuss about the Ashoka's policy after the awakening, because that is a very crucial shift when we talk about emperor's shift of ideology, because that is the impact. It can be seen not only on military but on day-to-day working of the kingdom. So his policy reflected his newfound commitment to Dhamma, a moral code of promoting harmony, tolerance, And Ashoka Dhamma was not a religious practice, actually. If we just discuss or read it crucially and deeply, it is a set of ethical principles aimed to be guided in or fostering social cohesion. And he emphasizes, the policy emphasizes on non-violence. This is ahimsa, no aggression, and he discouraged the animal sacrifices at that point of time. The religious tolerance, there were many religions prevalent at that point of time. He respected all faiths and encouraged mutual understanding. The compassion and kindness, he urged for people to treat respectfully, to respect and care each other. So that is a great shift when, in terms of when these policies are coming directly from the above, that is from the emperor. Now, administrative reform, Ashoka restructured his administration to align the ethical vision of the state. So that is one of the very major shift when we talk about his aftermath policies. The special officers were appointed to oversee the implementation of dhammas and the ethical practices, so that the welfare of people can be attained. So public welfare projects were actually were on rise. He built hospitals, roads, rest houses, and well to improve the lives of people and his subjects. Justice as government, which is very crucial when somebody is following a set of ethical practices. There are many challenges, but he encouraged the fair treatment of prisoner and human judicial practices, which is, I think, a very, very profound change, or maybe a very well thought policy which great Ashoka the Great implemented. The one finest thing or change in administration is promotion of Buddhism. And Ashoka actively actually supported Buddhism and helped the spreading of the teaching. he has undertaken missionary effort. He sent envoys to Sri Lanka, Central Asia, Greece to promote Buddhist ideologies and ideas. Now, edicts and inscriptions, his the message to promote the Dhamma or to promote the ethical practices. There were principles which were inscribed on rock and pillars all around his kingdom, so that people can read, they can understand, and they can follow. Then missionary and stupas, he actually also helped in construction. He guided most of his project of Buddhist religious side. Environmental and animal welfare. I mean, Ashoka was ahead of his time. He advocated the environment and animal protection. You know, sometimes in the modern time also, we sometimes lack these kind of understanding because we don't give due respects to environment and animal. So this is one thing which is out of the box thinking when we talk about Ashoka the Great. The veterinary care, and he established a hospital for animals. That is a great effort which he has done. Planting of tree, irrigation, he promoted afforestation and improved the water management. Ashoka policies transformed Mauryan Empire into a model of ethical governance, leaving long-lasting legacy that continues even today. So now we have to, it's inevitable if we don't discuss the warfare change after the Kalinga war, and that is very crucial because any emperor cannot just disintegrate the army, because they have to safeguard their territory also. So after the Kalinga war, Ashoka the Great underwent a profound transformation that completely altered the approach of warfare in his time. The immense bloodshed and suffering which he caused during Kalinga's war led him to renounce the violence and adopted a policy of Vijay, victory. So that is the righteous way to conquer. That is what is being indicated. The key change in warfare is that abandonment of military expansion, the promotion of non-violence and ahimsa, and he also encouraged his subject to live in harmony, not only with each other, but also with the nature, with animals, and use those policies which can bring peace and harmony, with definitely development also along the line. The use of diplomacy, which is one thing which is being taken by Ashoka. Instead of military campaign, Ashoka sent envoys, missionary, to spread ethical policies as well as Buddhism. And this is how he fostered all relation with neighboring kingdom. The public welfare has taken top priority for Ashoka the Great. He redirected resources from warfare to building hospitals and building houses to improve the lives of his people. So the moral conquest is also one of the aspects which Ashoka worked, and Ashoka believed that true victory lays in the winning of heart rather than territorial expansion. And through ethical practices, he actually established these kind of virtues in his kingdom. Now, all this being done, but what is the impact of Buddhism? Because there is a rise of Buddhism in the era of Ashoka the Great. The Emperor Ashoka actually played a pivotal role in spreading and institutionalizing Buddhism and transformation from a very regional faith into a global religion. And that is the biggest contribution of Ashoka the Great when we look into the kind of work he has done for this faith. Establishment of Buddhist infrastructure and some famous infrastructures are temple which also include Sachi Stupa. So these are the very interesting and very well planned infrastructures being done. And again, as I already mentioned, there were inscriptions which were installed on the rock, on the pillars, so that people can understand, and they at the same time the spread of the teaching is done for the moral principle. And this is why it is also being said that this is the way the people should understand the righteous way, and of course the non-violence and religious tolerance which he tried to establish in his kingdom. Now we have to discuss about influence of governance and ethics on the kingdom. So, and at the same time, Ashoka also provides support to Buddhist monks and scholars, so enhancing more cultural, more intellectual things or teaching for himself as well as for his people or his subject. Now, Ashoka integrated Buddhist principle in his administration, in compassion, in governance of compassion, social welfare. So this is something which actually had a far-reaching effect, not only Indian subcontinent but worldwide also. Now his era actually marked a turning point in Buddhist history also, because shaping and growing the survival of Buddhism for centuries. That is what is done through Ashoka the Great, and by him, by his effort also. So his transformation from Kalinga War and as we say, the rise of awakening, the rise of Ashoka the Great, actually is one of the most remarkable ruler, which actually turned from a conqueror into a champion of peace, and his legacy continued to inspire leader worldwide and it's interesting to read about this transformation, to understand his teaching, and even today we can actually follow these aspects or ethical things in our day-to-day life, not for a general people but also the people who are ruling, who are on top of their country, and they can propagate these kind of teaching. So this is a very interesting topic, and the war which actually turned into blessings over the period of time. I would like to actually have more comments. If you want to add in this description, we'll be happy to read it and share with our other audience. So see you again with a more interesting war, which actually marked a change in the human history. See you. Bye-bye. Take care.